the Gab Talks by the Independent Press Award. I'm your hostess, Gabby Olczak. To participate in the 2024 Book Award competitions, please visit independentpressaward.com and NewYorkCityBigBookAward.com. Hi, everyone. On this episode of the Gab Talks, we are so fortunate to be chatting with Michael Dow, author of the multiple award-winning Nurse Florence Children's Educational Series. Michael joins the Gab Talks for the fourth time. Can you believe it? Nurse Florence was named winner of the 2024 Independent Press Award in the Children's Educational Series. Book one of Nurse Florence, Help I'm Bleeding, debuted in 2020. There are currently, as of this morning, 158 editions, which have won both individual awards as well as book series awards, including the Independent Press Award, the New York City Big Book Award, Mom's Choice Awards, Family Choice Awards, and Literary Titan Gold Book Award. For you folks who are not familiar with Nurse Florence, the series supports global health promotion, literacy, and diversity, and displays the work of more than 100 illustrators. Titles include How Does the Brain Work? What is Type 2 Diabetes? Why and How Do We Sneeze? And What is Breast Cancer? Since its inception, Dow Creative Enterprises has evolved into a global phenomenon, which includes the Nurse Florence series with translations in numerous languages, coloring books, animated videos, and the recently launched Nurse Dorothea, an award-winning mental health series. When Michael isn't writing, can you believe he has time for anything else? He's managing Dow Creative Enterprises. He works as a registered nurse at an inpatient psychiatric hospital in Tucson, Arizona. Prior to his nursing and publishing career, Michael served in the Air Force for 8 years, then spent another 8 years as an Army Wounded Warrior advocate. Michael used his GI Bill to go through nursing school and received his RN degree in 2020 from the University of Arizona. Book one of Nurse Florence was published the same week. Michael joins us from Arizona, where he resides with his wife, Perla, and his 3 children. Michael, what a pleasure. Congratulations, and thanks so much for joining us again. How are you today?
Great, Gabby. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Always. And every time we speak, you have about, I don't know, 100 new books out there. So let's get started. The first Nurse Florence debuted in 2020. Michael, can you share with our audience what inspired you to launch the series to begin with?
Well, like we all know, everybody was experiencing the COVID pandemic, the start of it, and I saw my children transition to online learning, and I was very concerned about their science education, for the next several years, assuming they were going to be on online learning for, years to come. So I thought, what if I wrote a science book for kids and my kids had to read it because dad wrote it? So that's what inspired me to write the first Nurse Florence book. And we submitted it for some awards, got the Novelist Silver Award for that first book. And I thought, well, maybe I have a niche for writing for kids, with dealing with science. So I did several other books with my niece. She was the illustrator for the first 4 books. And then I realized that this could be a thing, the Nurse Florence series. So I started recruiting illustrators in the fall of 2021. And as of now, we have over 100 illustrators working on the project. And what's unique about the project is that we're allowing like college students that are, trying to get like a graphic design degree and stuff. We're allowing them to illustrate in the project so that they can become a published illustrator before they even graduate college. So we're giving people opportunities, to advance their careers and get their foot in the door of whatever graphic design job they would like to get, and we're having a lot of fun along the way.
That's incredible. Is there one particular illustrator that you find particularly inspiring, Michael?
Well, I mean, I gotta bring up Lindsay Roberts. She has done over 20 Nurse Florence books, and she's the sole illustrator for the Nurse Dorothea series, which needs between 100 and 250 books, 250 images for each book. So it's just amazing what she does. Lindsay's a retired AP high school art teacher,
Wow.
and she doesn't basically, yeah, that book right there, the that you just brought up, the
That's
yeah.
Lindsay right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that is Lindsay.
Yeah.
So she draws like sometimes 10 drawings a day, and she does it with pastels and then transfers the images into Photoshop and manipulates the images that way. But I mean, she is a powerhouse with this company in the sense of illustration production, and I'm just so grateful. She's already won multiple 1,000 drawing illustration award trophies that we give out. So she's just amazing, and her art, I think her artwork is beautiful, and I'm just grateful she's part of the team.
It really is really beautiful. And you know what I love about it is that all of the illustrators, they're very diverse. It no one is the same, no one is the same color, no one is the same ethnicity. And you do obviously have a gift for communicating to younger audiences, Michael. There's no doubt about it. And with Nurse Florence and Nurse Dorothea, which we'll get to later on, you really demystify very complex medical issues, breast cancer, brain function, you name it, you've covered it. And you're part of a global movement of health promotion and literacy. Tell us a little bit about what that's all about.
Well, we do see Florence bringing back community because we continue to get feedback that grandparents and aunts and uncles are reading these books with the younger kids, and everybody is learning something. Just like Disney has found the secret to keep adults entertained with their movies, because I mean, adults have to watch these movies over and over again with their
Over
little
and over.
kids, and we're able to keep watching them, because they're entertaining. So yeah, Dow Creative Enterprises has found a way to entertain adults by uh, introducing science facts in a way that probably most adults have never even been taught, these certain facts, but they're not so complex that the kids can't even get it either. So we found a way to still introduce some very interesting facts that adults would like to learn, but still the kids can learn. And we do the Nurse Florence publications through lulu.com, a self-publishing platform, and it shows country codes of where the books have been bought, and we know, okay, we're not selling thousands and thousands of books every month yet, but we do have intentions to get there. But there's already books being sold in Germany and England and Australia, in Japan and stuff, shown by the country code. So now there's not a lot of books that have been sold around the world, but everything starts with a small beginning. So we are at the small beginning of a global movement for community to come back and read together and learn together and have questions together to explore these health facts, and just to grow in their health literacy. So we're excited where this can go.
And you really thank you. You've given parents, grown-ups, adults tools to speak with their children about issues that we might not really know how to discuss. Breast cancer, for example, it happens in many families. How do you talk about this with a younger child? But you really demystify it, and you provide really easy to understand explanations of all of these very difficult medical terms. And it's just fantastic. So let's talk about, since we last met, you launched the first Nurse Dorothea. Do you have one with you
And
now that you can hold up?
let's see.
It's a comprehensive discussion on mental well-being. The first one was launched in May of 2024. It
I got one in my bookshelf. Do you want me to go get it real quick?
Yeah,
Okay.
you
Okay,
can.
hold on.
Yeah, go get it real quick. I'll keep talking. It was awarded a distinguished favorite in the New York City Big Book Award right out of the gate. There are currently 7 books in the series, and I understand, Michael, that a new edition is published every 5 weeks. There you go. That's the first one. And you have plans to publish 50. Topics include bipolar disorder, social media and social networking, grief, and managing this inevitable part of life. Why is a discussion on mental health important to our society to, as you say, remove the stigma about mental health issues and share ideas about all of our journeys to well-being? Explain that to us. Why is it so important?
Well, I gotta say, first of all, thanks to you. You gave me the little nudge to like start the Nurse Dorothea because I had intended to eventually do this series. As you know, you brought up in a couple of the interviews in the past, you're like, Michael, when are you gonna do a mental health series?
Yeah,
And
I
and
do
I,
remember that conversation.
yeah, and so with Lindsay drawing so much and she's so dedicated
Yeah.
to the vision of the company, it just was like kind of it became a no-brainer that like, okay, we are ready, with my background in psych nursing and Lindsay's dedication to draw like sometimes, like I said, 10 drawings a day. We're ready to start Nurse Dorothea. So we did. We started producing the production started about March of 2024, and we published the first one at the end of May. So but we need the series because we need common language to discuss something that everyone has to deal with, their mental health. I mean, every human on this planet needs to like understand how to have well-being, and that involves mental well-being. And so Nurse Dorothea is just providing that common language. And what's unique about Nurse Dorothea is that we ask the readers to participate along with the characters in the story, so that it turns into a group discussion. It can be a group activity.
Interactive.
Yeah, these books. We're it's time to like not be scared of mental illness, like someone that has bipolar or schizophrenia or these other things that might seem scary. I work many hours a week at the hospital, interacting with people with all these mental illnesses, and it is time for them, to not for people not to be afraid of them, that if we understand each other better, then maybe we can live, in a better world and stuff. But
Absolutely. So wow, this is ambitious. Um, every 5 weeks you plan to publish a book. How do you choose the topics?
I did sit down many, many months ago, and I have basically the topics already picked out for the
Okay.
first 40 books. And then when it's time to create the outline for Lindsay for the drawings, then that's when I create the title of the book, and do all the research needed for the book. So you know it, it is a process, but for me it's a fun process.
I can tell. I mean, it absolutely shows in your work that you're so passionate and that you love doing it. It's just they're fantastic books. Michael, you self-publish all of your books. And you've translated Nurse Florence into multiple languages. In fact, there are French, Spanish, and Latin American books with their own dedicated websites and coloring books. Um, you've also begun to animate some of the editions. What is the most challenging aspect of book publishing, and the entire process from inception to finish?
I have to say 100% it is book marketing. I mean, the the production process of the book, the writing of the book, formatting of the book, the publishing on the self-publishing platform, all
Creating
of
all
that,
that stuff is
all of that is
yeah,
all that's like kind of fun,
yeah, yeah.
the tough part is the book marketing,
Yeah.
to like try to get the books to sell, because like how do you know to buy something if you don't even know it exists? So so yeah, it's 100% the book marketing. And this year we're going to the company's gonna do a lot of outreach to librarians. We already attended the American Library Association's Live Learn X event in Phoenix in January, and we're going to go to the Utah Librarians Association event in May. And since that's near where I live, and we have several other big, events planned for this year. But yeah, is getting the books to sell. That's the hardest part. The fun part is writing the book. But
That Yeah, then the boring part is getting out there. But you have a little fun, like chatting with us, for example. And I know you
yeah.
do interviews and the book is picked up and written about. So that's good. So folks might not be aware of this, but Dow Creative Enterprises also offers publishing and consulting services. So you're
We
putting
do.
all of that into practice. Yeah.
We do, but but we'll see where this company goes. I got big plans. Like I eventually, once the Nurse Florence series takes off, I'd like to have like a nursing history museum here in Tucson, Arizona, and to also create a nonprofit to help out financially with nursing students that are struggling, where they might need a little financial assistance to stay in school, and stuff like that. If there was like a financial emergency and stuff like that. So we have like very big plans, but I try not to daydream too much about where how big this company could get, because I could like spend a lot of my day just daydreaming. So I try not to daydream. I do have the plans. They're sitting on the back shelf in the back of my mind.
Well, you say
But
you spend a lot of your day daydream. I doubt that because based on the amount of product that you put out there, and you work 48 to 60 hours a week to pay for it all. So,
yeah.
so what? That's wow. What drives you? And can you share with our listeners, your readers, our audience, your key to success and the most important characteristic that folks need to embody to be successful in anything?
Well, I would say consistency is just to do a little something every day towards your big dream. Like my big dream is that Nurse Florence and Nurse Dorothea both are become a global phenomenon and like touch societies, so that our health literacy is brought to a level that families can have competent conversations with their family providers,
Yeah.
so that like
Asking
you
the
know
questions.
yeah, that you don't leave the doctor's office like confused, that you walk in with already a basic understanding of what you're dealing with, and then you leave the doctor's office, empowered with like treatment options and things like that, to change that, to it will say improve instead of change, that
Yes.
to improve the healthcare services, that we walk away empowered, with every healthcare encounter. But yeah, consistency. You can have a big dream, um, but if you're not doing like little things every day to move towards that goal of that dream, then you're never going to get there. Denzel Washington, there's a podcast thing that he has on YouTube that someone put together of a graduation speech he did, and I play this regularly in as a nursing group at the psych hospital that I work at to motivate people. But he talks about falling forward. That if you fail at something, basically learn from your failures. So he says in that podcast, that dreams without goals are just dreams. So you got to be doing something every day, even if it's a little something. You got to be doing something every day, whether it's writing a couple pages of your book that you've always wanted to do, whether it's like doing a written article interview, to publish just to get your name out there a little bit, your book. You got to be doing a little something every day for that big dream. Otherwise, it's just going to be a dream, and you're going to be at the end of your life and looking back, and all these dreams are going to come with you into the grave. So yeah, let's all be consistent and do a little bit every day towards our big dreams so that they become reality.
That's great advice, Michael. Thank you. So you trademarked, and I guess it's your mantra, help civilization reach its potential. Tell us about that. How are you making that happen? And what's your ultimate goal for Nurse Florence? I know you're trying to inspire future scientists, um, nurses, doctors. Tell us about this.
Yeah, well, okay. We have like plans for over 30 other children's book series, and
Completely different series. 30,
total to,
30
to,
different series.
if I get my way,
Oh, wow.
if I become a full-time author, I will be writing at least one or two books every day until I'm 80 years old. So I'm
Would you
just
give us a teaser? What
well,
throw out a couple of them.
okay. Well, I'll tell you that the third series that I'm just waiting for the right moment to launch,
Okay.
which was probably was yesterday, but is about citizenship. And that's all I'll say. I don't want to give away like my big secret of how I'm going to do
Okay.
this, but and then the fourth series is about leadership. So let's just think about that. If we could if we could educate kids on like leadership ideas when they're kids,
Yeah.
could you just, I mean, what kind of leaders would we have when they're graduated from college, when they would have already like understood basic leadership ideas? Like, wow, like just that series could like improve society, so
Civilization reached its potential right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, and I got many others
I'm
in there,
sure
but
you do.
but but okay, like there's the idea like if you start in if you're about to leave your job, maybe do some things to improve it before you leave so the next person doesn't have as
Yeah.
much work to do. So or if you're a guest in somebody's house, well like clean in the guest room before you leave,
Yeah.
so it's that idea like let's leave this world a little bit better than the way we found it,
I was a
so that
Girl Scout and Boy Scout master. I was a
yeah,
Girl Scout leader for many years, and that's, we leave it better than how we found it, and that's
yeah,
how we do. Yeah.
exactly.
It's all, but that is making helping civilization reach its potential. I can't wait to see all of these. I can't even imagine. And
Yeah.
you've said, Michael, if society wants something we've never had, we're going to have to do something that's never been done before. And you're involved in a number of partnerships that educate and promote literacy. Tell us about some of those.
Um, well, we have Nurse Florence being distributed to some hospitals, comic books for kids, and and other things. But something very interesting that did happen this last year is Harvard University's online bookstore, Harvard.com,
Yeah.
has chosen to sell all of our books, that the company produces on their online bookstore. So, I mean, we're not on the bookshelves on
But you're
Harvard
on
campus,
Harvard University's
but
online bookstore, which is amazing.
but wow, I mean that
Wow.
is a book award by itself.
That was my next comments. You're getting a little ahead of us.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
that's okay. I did want to tell folks that all the titles can now be purchased at Harvard University online bookstore. Wow. And Amazon, of course. And how else can listeners find out about you, Nurse Florence, Nurse Dorothea, get a peek into what's next?
Well, www.dowcreativeenterprises.com is like the central website for all of the websites where you can click to, like nursedorothea.com and nurseflorence.org and stuff like that. But And stay tuned for more Authority magazine articles I'll be doing. I try to do one every couple of weeks, or at least once a month. I've already done many, but so I will be continuing to do interviews that way, written interviews and stuff. Um, but yeah, just stay tuned for very big things from Dow Creative Enterprises.
Oh, we are looking forward to it and we can't wait. Michael, I can't thank you enough for joining us again. Number 4, we had so much fun. It's always inspiring talking to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again, Gabby.
It's wonderful. Hope to see you soon. This is your hostess, Gabby Olczak of the Gab Talks. Until next time, keep on reading.